Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pigskin Project YouTube channel. I am Matt Hartman, joined today with Ben Hansen. We're doing our first mock draft together. I know you and I have probably done some mock drafts, you know, in our alone time, solo, but
Done.
on camera, we have not done a mock draft together on this YouTube channel, and the day has finally come, people. The Super Bowl is over, and it's finally time to do a mock draft. Ben, how are you doing?
Oh my gosh, I am doing fantastic. I am absolutely juiced to get into the mock draft scouting of it all. And the first one always just hits a little different too, doesn't it? Like it's I don't know. It's like the dew on the grass on a nice like Sunday morning, and it's fantastic. I'm excited, pumped to be here.
The dew on the grass is mock draft. Okay,
Oh yeah,
man.
oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
uh,
Threw me for a loop.
Hey,
Um
it's just the start to something amazing.
yes,
That's
yes.
why,
I
yeah.
get you. I get you. It's really funny to hear it out loud though. We've decided behind you're going to be odds, I'm going to be evens. My Saints pick evens, your Eagles pick odds. That's simple. It's going to be what you would do mock drafts. Since this is our first, we're not going to do no predictive stuff. It's February. The
Yeah,
combine hasn't
yeah,
happened, folks. All right,
yeah.
pro days haven't happened, folks. We
Nah,
have no way to predict anything teams are thinking right now. So we're going to do what we would do, and I think that's the best way to do it. So
yeah.
you start us off, Ben. What's your hot take for the number one overall pick?
Hot take: Raiders are going Fernando Mendoza. I mean, it's a guy no one talked about, the Cal kid, right? I mean, I know a lot of people haven't heard of this kid before, but yeah, Fernando Mendoza. It'll be him all season long. I don't know if there's much that has to be said about this that you guys probably haven't already heard before.
What so for you, where would you stack up Mendoza in the last 3 years? Because that's going to be a hot topic with him this year, being literally the only quarterback in my top 40. So
Yeah.
again, and we have the Cam Ward draft last year. Not really high on Shock Darts, Shador, but 2024, a very legacy draft with six guys going in the top 12. Where would you stack up Mendoza comparing kind of the last two drafts? You can throw in
It's
23
so
if you want with Stroud and Bryson, but
yeah, no.
go ahead.
It's so tough because like in terms of quarterback, I mean, obviously scouting as a whole, we're so like traits and like specifically like physical trait coded with it all, and it's not like Fernando Mendoza has that, right? He doesn't have like this killer arm. He's not
Yeah.
this super athletic guy, but he has all of the intangibles. So it makes it like really hard in terms of like trying to put him places. As far as last year's draft, I think he'd be quarterback too. I probably would have Cam Ward still ranked in front of him, but I think he'd be pretty firmly quarterback too for me. And then obviously in the year prior's draft, he would be in the JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix. I think I probably would have had him in front of both of those guys, but firmly in that realm of quarterback there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would definitely have him behind Cam Ward just from the sheer like the S tier arm that I felt like Cam could present at any given time to push the ball down the field. Where again, Mendoza continues to be the same guy where it's like just he has enough. He has enough of the arm. He has enough of the athleticism to create outside the pocket. He's a very intelligent thrower. I continue to say stick around. He's going to be better at 28 than he is at 24. Just stick around. I think he's a very intelligent thrower and intelligent player. And going to the Raiders with Tom Brady, I'm really excited for the playbook
Perfect
to
fit.
be the playbook to be exchanged with him and Clint Kubiak and Tom Brady at the combine and roll from there. I'm really excited for this fit for Las Vegas, and also we know the Raiders fan base. A guy like Fernando Mendoza, being the quarterback of the Raiders, it kind of fits, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Fun.
Getting into the Jets, don't envy the Jets here. The Jets would have had their pick of Dante Moore if he didn't go back to school and avoid the Jets. I've seen some, hey, the Jets should trade down. Well, somebody's got to come up. Every year we do this like, oh, I trade down. Somebody's got to come up. For me specifically, I think it's take uh, take one of these Ohio State kids and just go from there. Just watch some Ohio State defensive tape and maybe watch some receiver tape if you want. If you're a fan of Carnell Tate. But I'm gonna go with Arvell Reese. He's my number 2 player in this class. I early in this process I was when you look at him through the lens of an edge, it's not a pure edge rusher, but his side to side stuff in the run game as a pure linebacker, his overall like what he's able to do when he does rush the passer, this raw, it's very noticeable. I think you could build on it if you want. If you want to make him a pure edge, I just think he's the second best player in the class for me. We'll talk about the number 1 when he comes up, but yeah, I have Arvell Reese, and if you took Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles, I wouldn't be against it, even with the positional value of it all. I think these guys are really, really good, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think you could go wrong with either edge. Obviously, some people might lean towards the David Bailey of it all because of the first step and the juice he has in the pass rush, and then the Ruben Bain of it all, just a well-rounded game. Or you get the Arvell Reese of it all. I'm glad you went Arvell Reese. For those who've been around for a long time, I struggle obviously evaluating that specific kind of player. He probably would have fallen a little bit down if it wasn't up to you. So I'm glad that you were here for it. But I like the pick. Continue to get the defensive players that can really make a difference there.
Yeah.
Cardinals got a lot of a lot of different places. This would be a really really fun class if Dante Moore decided to come out. Obviously, he didn't. Um, I my head is just trying to build the best offensive line possible. So it is your choice of whoever you think just the best offensive line is, right? Some of these top prospects, some people are saying, well, no, he might be playing tackle, in the NFL, but he could be a guard here, vice versa. You could do whatever you like. I'm going to go with who I have as my number 1 ranked, just pure offensive line. It's funny because he's 18 here on their board, but I'm going Spencer Fano and just try to just give your 2 bookend tackles of the future. You have Paris already there. You can get Spencer to play the other side of it, set up whoever your quarterback is going to be for success. We obviously talk about it so much. You don't want these guys to feel rushed, and you want to build a good core around them. And I think building an offensive line is the first step in doing such.
Yeah. Again, I find him a little bit lower than my number 1 guy in CC Mauanoa, but I don't think you can go wrong with Fano with just all the upper body stuff and all the traits he has to be just there's a lot of plug and play right tackles in this class for me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that I feel pretty safe about plugging in there, and it's awkward because you gotta pick one at 3. Like again, it speaks to this class, but yeah, we get into the Titans. Titans are very fascinating because again, obviously, you want to go into a draft where we just took Cam Ward. We want to get a quarterback in there. We have a quarterback in there. We had one of the worst pass catching units in all of football. Our offensive line wasn't really great, but they have no edge rushers. So again, you get into this weird little middle ground of like, man, we think we need pass rush juice. I'm gonna stray on the we need to make our quarterback look as good as possible, and so I'm gonna go with my number 1 receiver, and that is Carnell Tate. I know I think he's just the prototypical size to play outside. And then going back and watching his 24 stuff to 25 stuff, he just got so much better nuance wise as a route runner at his size. He can
Mm.
fly down the field. He is one of the best contested catch players I've seen. The zero drops here indicates that, but even that, like, it's plenty of contested catch targets for him at Ohio State. So I'm gonna take Carnell Tate.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how the wide receivers go off the board here, right? Because there are three guys that are clearly make like the upper echelon of this class here, and you could have it stacked three different ways in terms of who your number one guy is.
Yep.
I'm also gonna go wide receiver. It's funny because as just a pure prospect, I lean Makai Lemon because of everything that he can do. I just think he's a very well-rounded player. For a guy who is not necessarily the biggest, he's really good at contested catches, winning downfield, excellent route runner. That being said, I want to take a guy that is going to complement Malik Neighbors very, very well. That's going to be Jordan Tyson because how big he is and how big his frame is and his ability to win down the field in a completely different way than what Neighbors does. Um, I'm interested to see what the process looks like for him though, because there could be 10, 15 teams that completely just take Jordan Tyson off of their draft board completely due to the medical aspect of it. There are a lot of concerns about his body just falling apart. We are not privy to any of that information. That is why he is going number 5 here for me, just because I'm going based off of what my eyes tell me on the film. But again, I wouldn't be shocked if he tumbles down the board due to medicals.
I agree with you. It's tough to project. There was a time midway through the year where he would have been, receiver one for me, just for what he did in 2024. But
Mm-hmm.
the other two guys passed him for what they were able to do this year. So again, he's receiver three for me, but I completely get the compliment route that you are going here. The Browns, pretty easy. I know you have to have the discussion if you want. In quarterback, Ty Simpson, if you believe in him at 6, okay. You have to have the conversation, then you say, no, absolutely not. Sprinton Francis, Maui, Noah out of Miami. Again, plug and
Yes.
play right tackle for me. There's going to be length concerns, obviously, but just overall, like, I see a lot of, Fawunga and Steve Avila. Those are the comps that I've seen with him, and they make a ton of sense. He's a very
Yep.
stout, compact player who just moves you off the ball. And the Browns, I think, have one offensive line starter on their roster right now. That's just not. They have to take a guy here at 6, and I think Maui Noah makes a ton of sense to plug and play.
Absolutely. I love it. Moving on, just in terms of like a team that has to just make a pick. The Commanders are so incredibly old on defense. They just need someone who can come in and breathe new life into them. Um, and at 7, this is the perfect scenario for them. The fact that you get the choice of Ruben Bain or David Bailey, you're drooling over it. Um, Again, I discussed it. It's tough. It really just depends on what you're looking for here. Ruben Bain is, again, the more well rounded player. David Bailey is kind of your flamethrower type of guy with that first step he has. Has some questions in the run game. I do think it got better as the season went on, but I'm just going to default to who my number one player in the class is, and that is Ruben Bain. And we'll take him here. Again, you get some much needed youth in the defense and some much needed pass rush here.
Yeah, Bane's interesting, man. Bane's interesting because what do you believe? What do you believe? Do you believe what he told you in the playoff with that get off? Do you believe what he told you in the Notre Dame game, or do you believe he's more of what he is in the middle, the latter part of the ACC play and kind of last year? It's really interesting with him, and he's already got the length concerns. People are just already, you know, grilling him. I'll say it on that stuff, but uh, again, I've seen some comps like Carl Lawson is someone that makes sense. Is he going
Yeah.
to be a guy who just plays for a very long time? Who knows? But Yeah, Bane is eighth on my board. Again, I'm just I don't know
Mhm.
where to stack up comparing the playoff to what a full sample of his career looked like. So again, similar to the C.J. Stroud a few years ago when he faced Georgia, I didn't know how to do it, and different position, but
Yeah,
you get my point. Then we get into the Saints. I think you could go the
this
similar
is fun.
route. You could go the similar route as Tennessee. Let's get a guy in here who's going to help our offense. Jeremiah Love, Makai Lemon. You could go edge rusher with Cam Jordan getting up there in age, Carl Granderson coming up soon, and you get another guy next to, um, what is it, Chase Young and how good he's been. I think Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs are in play specifically, um, just because of how they're able to shift numbers in the defensive end. Demario Davis might not be here next year, um, and I think Downs is always in play. Once you get to like number 7, I think Downs starts to become in play. Um, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna feed some hype to my fan base. I'm gonna take Jeremiah Love, my number one player.
No.
Jeremiah Love, he's my number one player. I would have him if you're ranking the three running backs. Oh, rank him next to Bijan, rank him next to Genti. He'd be third, but he's number one in a specific category with those two guys, and it's explosive runs.
Yeah.
This guy is when he hits a gear, I think it's unreal, and the Saints are looking for an extra gear in the run game. Think about Kellen Moore's offense when he was able to have Saquon Barkley hit that other gear. This offensive line, I think, is ready made for a guy like Jeremiah Love, similar to Atlanta's with Bijan. I'm taking Jeremiah Love here, and I again, I don't know. Again, we're so early. I don't know, but man, is it just fun? It's fun to think about
Oh yeah.
Jeremiah Love, being a college football fan, and that guy gets to be on my favorite NFL team.
Yeah, he's the sexy pick. He's the dessert pick of this draft, especially considering where the Saints are at.
And that's the thing: are the
Get
Saints in a
playmakers.
premium? Are they in enough of a position to take a luxury pick like Jeremiah Love? I don't know, but in this draft, I think at 8, it's worth it. Is kind of my rationale.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love it. You get a a playmaker for your air quote young quarterback there, right? I have to throw the jabs at where I can, but I do love the pick. Um, as a fan of 31 other teams, thank you for not letting him get to 9. As the GM for the Chiefs at 9, that breaks my heart because this would have been like the sprint in, walk it up. I don't care. It's going to be Jeremiah Love. Um, but you're still pretty happy with the way that the board works out here. You could default to the board and take whoever your best player is, whether that's a David Bailey or Caleb Downs, or you could get a playmaker that they kind of desperately needed in Makai Lemon. This is really difficult. I'm going to default to I want to do David Bailey, but he doesn't. He's not like that prototypical like Spags
Yep.
defensive
Yep.
edge, right? So that's where it's choices. It's between David Bailey and Makai Lemon. Um, you know what? Go and get your the best quarterback in the NFL, another offensive weapon. Give me Makai Lemon. Who would have thought the three wide receivers went in the top 10? As good as they are, no knock. I think they all deserve it, but it's funny that it played out that way. I don't know if it actually will in real time.
I'm so excited for this pick whenever it's made, because I don't think there's a pick. This is similar to when the Warriors had the number 2 pick in the NBA. Like being
Yeah.
able to be in this luxury position in the midst of a dynasty, and you still have the player that's kind of the catalyst of the dynasty. This pick is so vital to get right because I think they have so
Yes.
many pieces they need to get right. They need to get like you said. They need to get right on edge. They need to get right. They need another receiving weapon in there. You could convince me on a right tackle here if you like them high enough, like at 9.
Yeah.
It's just man, it's hard to do. And I think both Ohio State guys being on the board make a ton of sense. Jermon McCoy makes a ton of sense here. Like I love it. I love that there's so many options at 9. for them to get it right, and they need to get it right. So I'm really entertained to see who joins the Chiefs. But
Yeah.
number 10 for the Cincinnati Bengals again. Well, the board has fallen in a way that I even with positional value, take one of the Ohio State kids here. Take Caleb Downs. Take
Mm,
Sonny Styles. Whoever your favorite of the either two is. Um, I have a cop out. I have them same grade. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna go Sonny Styles. I think Sonny Styles is uh, one of the best linebacker prospects I've seen ever. Like truly, like side to side quickness, his stature. He's built like
yes.
Arvel Reese. Like people don't understand that. He's so intelligent in the pass game. Again,
Yes.
people have him as the number one player in the class, and I do not question you whatsoever. This
No.
guy is tremendous, and I think the Cincinnati Bengals would be thrilled to get him in the door.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking about him like very early on in the season with you, and how much I loved him. But there was the looming concerns of how he's gonna do on like the pass coverage game,
Yeah.
and a lot of those concerns he spelled. You know,
Yep.
there's still a little piece in the back of your mind that's like I don't know, but he spelled a lot of those concerns. I absolutely love it. Again, he's a top five ish player in the class for me. So no concerns here. This is I wouldn't if you would have asked me, I apologize. I wouldn't have told you that David Bailey was gonna get down here to 11. I he is so clearly far and above, I think, the best player on the board outside of
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Downs. I don't know if Caleb Downs is really in play. I really would have honestly part of me still wants to just go corner because of how big of a need corner is. And you have Chop Robinson still, you have Chubb still. We'll see how the season plays out for him. So it's not like edge is like the super big need that you have, but when you get the opportunity to get a guy that's hopefully going to be a double digit sack getter for you for the next 8 years, it's really, really hard to pass up on, even if you have that big of a need at cornerback. I'm gonna go David Bailey here. Get me a guy that can be your obviously not to the same extent, but your Micah Parsons in this Jeff Halfley defense, right? So give me David Bailey. Give me a guy that can get after the quarterback.
Yeah, I completely get it. He's kind of lower than I had him previously on my board as I
Mm-hmm.
dig into this class. I think he's a very solid player. I think he's going to go this high, maybe even a little bit higher. I think his pass rush juice is just that overwhelming at times. But again, it's how you fill out that frame. It's how you get into the run game. He's going to be a combine darling. Just get ready, everybody. When he jumps 40 inches and he runs
Yeah.
sub 4.5, and everybody's going, "Oh my goodness, David Bailey! Did you see this?" And he took over the Oregon game. But yeah, I think David Bailey makes a ton of sense. This makes this pick easier for me. Again,
Yes.
it's taking Downs. I would take Downs. I think McCoy is in play here, but if you want to take a boundary guy, but I just want defensive playmakers, man. For Christian Parker, the new defensive
Yeah.
coordinator, I just want a guy who can kind of float over all over the field. Again, the nickel position being this vital part of your defense. I think think about where he's coming from. Cooper DeJean is flipping things on the defensive end for Philadelphia. So again, I think Caleb Downs has that level of talent to be maybe I think I the athletic tools have been drilled a little bit, a little too harsh for my liking. But I still believe that he can be a really great player in this league. So I'm taking him with the Dallas Cowboys pick.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you take the positional value out of it, like him safety, and I'm interested to see if
He's in play at two
what
for me.
team does it because at a certain at two.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I
Again, that
that's
speaks to my
I
own.
mean, I think he's that good of a player.
It speaks to my own like positional like again speaking on the nickel being the second most important thing. If on the defensive side of the ball, you can disagree. He's that good of a player, even with the athletic. Like I think he jogged through the 25 season. Like it just there wasn't splash
Yeah.
plays all over the place, but 20 the 23 stuff, man. The Bama stuff is still incredible. I can't get over how good he was after that Texas game.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I again, he's another top 5 player in the class. If you can take him here, absolutely right. So that makes this pick a little bit easier for me. What a treat for the Rams to be able to be picking at this spot coming off of an NFC Championship game, right? And I think the choice in terms of the position you're taking is very very easy when you're considering that Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes, Darius Williams. They went out traded for Roger McCreary. Um, it's not a good secondary. It's just flat out not a good secondary. Um, this is where it becomes hard because you have two guys staring you in the face in Delane and McCoy here, and McCoy's 2024 tape is is the better of the two tape. When you're stacking up the 24 tape for him compared to Delane's 2025 tape, it's difficult because how do you value that considering that this guy hasn't played football in over a year? Um, but I'm going to go with the tape grade that I like better here. Give me Dramon McCoy.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think McCoy is that good of a player. Again, loaded slow because he didn't play any games. But I think his size, length, speed stuff. I think it overall compared to Delane, I definitely prefer. Even if Delane is one of the few players that has a first round grade for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can go wrong with either pick. But I agree with you. I prefer McCoy. Um, Ben, do you know why I picked Evans? Because I could have this pick. Because I could have this pick
Oh God.
right here and show off one of my takes for this NFL draft. I think this team needs to take offensive line. I think they need to swing offensive line again, bringing in Dwayne Ledford over from Atlanta. I think Vega Ione makes a ton of sense if I'm saying that right, but that's a band-aid position. I think that's kind of I think he could play guard, but I'm thinking about I want a guy who could play guard and kick out to tackle. I'm taking Caden Proctor out of Bama. Caden Proctor, the more I watch him, he's he's really good. I think what he for his size, for him to be that coordinated in his lower half, if you get the right offensive line coach, and I think Dwayne Ledford is, you get him disciplined and you make him mean, this is the left tackle of the future for Lamar Jackson. I think he's that good and that overall talented. Um, so I'm gonna sprint in Proctor here. What are your thoughts? Oh, are you muted? Oh, you're muted.
He has all of the athletic traits. Yeah, yeah. Here we are. Here we are. I muted myself. He has all of those athletic traits that you want, right? That has you drooling over a player. It's just a matter of whether or not you think he can put it together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is pretty high for me. I don't know if the risk is worth it for my blood, but when it's all put together, as you said, he could be the tackle of the future for them.
I'll do you one
So,
further. I think his range
um,
starts with the Chiefs.
mm, okay, that's rich.
I,
That's it's yeah. So, Buccaneers at 15. It's in terms of just like strictly positional value. Like I think it's easy to be like Kenyon Sadiq. Okay, carry on. right? I don't know if it will be. That's probably not the route that I'm gonna do. Call me selfish, call me biased. We'll see if it plays out maybe the way that I want it to. But I'm gonna go with my next best edge rusher here. Continue to just get guys that can get after the quarterback. We know they love to sack up that edge room, and their shots haven't worked out the way that they wanted to. He's old. I don't care if he's old. Akeem Mesidor is that good of a player. And currently, again, I'm going strictly just off of how I watched the tape. Your concern with Akeem Mesidor is he's old, and I think he'll be 24 years old. He'll be 28 when he signs his contract extension, but he's that good player coming off of the edge that it is going to be really, really hard to pass up. And he's going to be an instant impact player the day that a team takes him.
Yeah, he wouldn't be my pick of edge here, to be frank. But
Okay,
I get
TJ
I
Parker.
Falk. I think Falk just a little bit higher.
I just
Um,
don't know if he's the flamethrower that they like,
I
though,
get
right?
it.
I mean, you look at the
Yes,
kind of guys that they
yes,
lean towards for like Yaya Diaby,
yep.
Hassan Reddick, and all of that. Keldrick Falk is probably the polar opposite of your Yaya Diaby, but
But that's my point. Have those guys
that's fair.
been has the has Braswell been working? Not really. So, but I think you're threading a major needle if you're taking Mesidor in the top 20 to me, because like you said, very old, doesn't really you know he wins with his hands and those like inside counter moves more so than like dominant
Yes,
bull rush, dominant speed to around the edge. So again, it's
he's a
really tough
technical player.
to know if he has it at the next level combined with the age. But again, if you're banking on the playoff run, man, he was awesome. He truly was. He was a game record player. So interesting to see where Mesidor kind of stacks up around the NFL and how people see him. I think this is the highest I've seen him. So it's fun to see you.
Yeah.
I stand on my Proctor take, you stand on a Mesidor take. So I think that's fun. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
the Jets, once again, obviously, if you're new, we took Arvell Reese, off ball linebacker / edge, however you want to deploy him. Um, this one here, again, I'm kind of leaning two ways. I again want to lean into the defensive side of the ball, just because I think that's where you have value on the board, unless you're thinking Sadiq, which I don't think they're thinking Sadiq or should be thinking Sadiq this early to me. I don't think he's that game breaking of a tight end to take it 16. Um, I'm gonna take Delane just off of the pure fact of like, oh, they didn't have a single interception last year and they traded away Sauce. And you think about, sticky man coverage corners. That's what Aaron Glenn kind of likes. So if Delane makes it here at 16, I think it's a great value for them. And yeah, I think it's that simple. I don't have to complicate Mansour Delane
No.
here at 16.
No. I think you're completely justified in taking that pick. I would have loved to take it here at 17, to be frank.
Yes.
um, so it's a good pick. My head instantly goes offensive line here. Could you take me to the tackle board? I don't know if there's a tackle at 17 that I would be willing to take, especially with Proctor off the board at this point in time. Yeah, there's definitely not an offensive tackle here that I'm taking at 17 that I feel comfortable with. Hey, you've been trying to find that guy opposite of Hutch for a very, very, very long time. Give me DJ Parker. I know you just talked about Keldrick Falk, but again, I'm gonna lean the just what he can do, and he's one of the players, like considering the collapse that like Clemson had, that you can still go back and look at his tape and be like, yes, this guy still has it. I think going into the season, his comps were probably a little bit lofty. I mean, I kind of even got on the hype train a little bit, but I'm like, Jared Verse, I don't know. I don't think he's quite that, but you finally get that running mate with, hopefully that running mate with Hutch here, with DJ Parker here, and just continue to build like a really good defense that just wants to pin their ears back and just play it Dan Campbell way.
Yeah, I just again, it's he didn't take the rocket ship leap that I think a lot of people thought he would take into top 5 player
Yeah.
status. But he's still a really good player. I have him in, the mid to later 20s on my board. So, again, little early
Hmm.
projecting, what Falk could be because again, that's kind of, we're projecting out. But yeah, I do like the player, and I think what he's able to do in converting speed to power next to Hutch gives you another flavor on the other side of the edge rush room. Um,
Yeah.
the Vikings, this one I think is pretty easy for me. I think Avion Terrell. I think putting him in
Yes.
there with that corner room, I think it makes a ton of sense. Again, I don't think I've seen anybody rank him higher than 15 or lower than 20. I think everybody is pretty set on where this guy is, and I agree with him. He's at 18th on my board. This is
Yeah.
the pick 18th. I think it makes a ton of sense, and yeah, let's keep digging out in the corner room.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Um, all right. The big thing here is for the Panthers. Can we get pass catchers and continue to build up this pass catching room? Obviously Tet was very, very good for you. Jalen Colker, take that with what you will. I think he's going to be a very good wide receiver too for the rest of his career. But I just haven't quite liked this tight end room. It hasn't lived up to what I would have thought. It really pains me to take Kenyon Sadiq here, but I think it's the right spot for him. Again, continue to just surround your quarterback with explosive weapons here. I think that's Kenyon Sadiq. This is a little high for me, but at this point in time, I just again get your quarterback pass catchers, and that's how we end up with Kenyon Sadiq in that team.
Yeah, that's the last of my first round graded players. Only 13 this year, and I'm nice with first round grades.
Yeah,
Sadiq, I think he's one of those. He's a good tight end, and I think the upside is truly there, but they just don't have a tight end kind of like him, especially if JT Sanders is going to be down for a good amount of time, and even that, like Sadiq's got like 10 pounds on him. I have to believe so. So
yeah,
again, I think Tommy Tremble, Mitchell Evans are fun players, but you put them next to Sadiq, I think you're really cooking with something. So that's probably the place I would have gone. Maybe one of the D tackles, but
yeah,
uh, the Cowboys. Again, this is kind of this one's pretty maybe not easy, but I'm deciding between Woods or Falk. I think you're deciding who do you want to put along that front four next to Quinnen Williams? Do you want to put a guy directly next to him in Peter Woods, who kind of can tend to be a little gap shooty, a little
yeah,
reckless, but having a guy like Quinnen Williams next to him kind of gives him that freedom. I know they have Osa Odigizua, but you're just throwing bodies at the problem. Um, and then Falk, I think you just think about when you get rid of a guy like Parsons and you say, oh, we want to stop the run. Uh, that's what Falk does is, from a baseline going into this,
yeah.
and maybe he never develops as that. You know who he reminds me of? I just came to Dorrance Armstrong.
Who?
I like
Oh
that.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right, I just did that. All right, that convinced me on it. I think that makes a ton of sense. I like that. It would make a ton more sense if they had like a pure, winner on the other side. I know they've thrown so many bodies at this edge room, but you got to keep doing it when you
yeah.
trade away a guy like Parsons. So
Yeah, continue to get defensive
yeah,
playmakers here. Um, is this where we get funky with it? I
Hmm.
know with me saying that, you know exactly where my head's at, right? Like this might be the the time and place that we monkey a little fun with it. Um, I know we said that we weren't going to do a predictive mock, but I'm kind of leaning that way right now with the Steelers pick. What was the reason that they said that they went out and got McCarthy? They went out and they got McCarthy because they believe that he can develop the quarterback. And I personally would not be taking Ty Simpson in the first round, but Ty Simpson would have came back if he did not get a guarantee that he was going to a first round team.
Yes.
I'm trying to go through and look at the board and see if there's any other team that would have said, "Yeah, come out, we're going to take you." It seems like it's the Steelers. Again, you get McCarthy because you think he can develop the quarterback. Do we really think that they were referring to Will Howard when they said that? I don't. Um, we're gonna go Ty Simpson here and hope that you can kind of capture what he did in the middle part of the season. Because at the middle part of the season, there was truly that fun discussion like, can Ty Simpson be the QB1 in this class? When having the conversation with Moore and Fernando here, because of what he does as a processor in terms of quick, snappy reads and making the right decision. Again, we've spoke on it, the two of us, in terms of his lower body mechanics, this weird like kind of hop half stuff he takes. Not a fan of, but you know you can hope and sell yourself on taking this pick at 21 if you take a look at that middle stretch of the games that he had this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it, but it's a semblance of a plan. So again,
Yes.
yeah, I I get it, and you made the point exactly right on the nose. He wouldn't be in this draft if there wasn't teams telling him, yeah, if you're on the board, we need a quarterback. We'll fill it with you. And so I think the Steelers have kind of been that poster team. They were last year, but
Mhm.
this is a different regime now. This is Omar Khan without Mike Tomlin. So he now has Mike McCarthy, who is a you know offensive driven guy and wants a quarterback. And even if they re-sign Rodgers, what would stop you from taking Ty Simpson? You're not getting a second year out of Rodgers after this year, even if you
Yeah.
like somehow get this year. But yeah, it makes a ton of sense. The Chargers, again, I like the D tackles on the board. Maybe Peter Woods is too good. Maybe he should just come off the board here. But Vega Ione, I think he's just ready-made guard. This is a team
Yes.
that, again, they're gonna go so hard to get Tyler Linderbaum, and if they do, it would tell me to even more to get this player. Just putting those guys next to each other, just really making this, giving Mike McDaniel every opportunity to succeed in the run game with Amarian Hampton, and go from there and really cook with gas. So yeah, Vega Ione. I don't know if he gets here, but yeah, I really like him here.
Yeah.
16, I
No,
was.
I love. Yeah, I no, I love the pick. You just made this pick significantly harder for me, right? He was a guy as this goes on and on and on who I have circled here. Again, I think he's ready made. I think he's going to step in and be very very good from day one. Um, 23. All the players that I would have circled are gone. It could be fun. If you move off of AJ Brown, you could talk yourself into Denzel Boston. Um, you could talk yourself into some of the edges in terms of the pass rush juice that you could try to convince yourself with Cassius Howell. I'm not all the way there on Cassius Howell as a player, so I'm not going to do that. You could talk yourself into defensive tackle with Jordan Davis on the last year of his deal. Um, there's a lot of different places you could go. That being said, for years, for like 3 years now, Eagles fans have been like holding their breath. Like, okay, is this the year that Lane Johnson does it? And we're getting closer and closer and closer with Stoutland getting fired. Um, Give me Caleb Lamu here. Again, the hope is he can sit behind Lane for the year. That's still kind of up in the air. Learn from it a little bit. He could step in and hopefully take over the reins since then. That's who we're selecting here. Might get a little different with Stoutman gone, but this is just very Howie coded as well in terms of how he just likes to approach the first round. Um, but just know, Matt, I almost took my guy that we were talking about in the chat earlier, considering that there was a little bit of overlap there with Quinyon Mitchell, but I didn't. I didn't. I almost did. I almost
I know he's got fans,
did.
but at 23, my lord. Um, I'm surprised you didn't take Monroe Freeling. Do you have Lomu
Hmm.
much higher? Because I have
Not
very
like
equal.
yeah, I was gonna say not significantly higher. I will say again, well, there's also stuff up in the air with Landon Dickerson. Like, will he retire? Will he not retire? I am of the very small minority that right guard is not the big issue along in this offensive line. And I like Lomu better, so that's why we ended up going here. So
That's fair. I like it. Um, so with the Browns, we took Maui Noah with the first pick. Again, I receiver makes a ton of sense. I think Ty Simpson would have been my pick if he was on the board here, just because I just need to fill the position. Um, Peter Woods is staring me in the face just because, like, looking at the board, he's just clearly the best player available for me. And but you're coming off the year Malik Collins had, but he got injured late in the year, and he's an older player already. So again, this is kind of valuing. Do you value the position in receiver? Taking the receiver 4 at 24, or taking just the overall player in Peter Woods. I'm gonna go Woods. Again, I don't think anybody's thrilled with Peter Woods this year. Again, similar to
no,
any Clemson guy you think about. It was a year of just not good enough. Clemson wasn't good enough. These players weren't good enough, and they just didn't live up to the billing. Uh, Peter Woods, I was comparing. He's kind of one of those reckless D tackles. I think he shoots gaps, gets him overextended sometimes. That I don't love, but again, similar to Falk, if you put it all together, it's just it can be great. So
can be great. Yeah. You made it a little bit easier for me. This is like the dream scenario I've laid out for if this is your guys' first time at the channel, we have a third co-host. His name is Ryan, big Bears fan. This is the dream scenario I've kind of laid out for him. You just need to figure out a way to get pressure in the center of this defense because they have not been able to do it. And there's not a guy much better in this class than Caden McDonald at that. Right. And I immediately he can come in and really, 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 really help your defensive line. Again, he gets you the interior pressure that you so desperately need in this class. And again, you made it a little bit easier there. It would have been between Peter Woods and him here. Peter Woods off the board. So we're just going to default to that next guy up. You could convince yourself in Caleb Banks. That's a fun discussion to have, especially considering the Senior Bowl that he had. He struggled day one, put it together as it went on. But again, it's a little tough considering he really didn't play football this past year. So I'm going to default to a guy that I've seen some more tape on. That's Caden McDonald.
I'll do you one better. I'll even throw Lee Hunter here. I think Lee Hunter would also be in play for me. I don't have these
Mm-hmm.
guys separated too much, but if you're looking for a guy who's just a space eating defensive tackle, I
Take him here. Take him
I
here.
think Lee
Sorry.
Hunter makes a ton
Yeah.
of sense. Buffalo, also with the Browns, I think there's going to be Browns fans in the comments saying we took Mason Graham last year, but
Fun to pair him up.
yeah, especially if the Miles deal does go down. I just think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Buffalo. This is where we're at the part of the mock draft where I'm our lads in this. I gotta see. I gotta feel it out. I gotta get a feel for what I'm looking at. Bose is gonna be a free agent, so I think edge could be in play. Obviously, we're staring at oh, Cassius Howell's on the board. He's not on my board. I think you can make a case for corner, but is there a corner on the board that you can really make the case for? I think the only guy for me is Colton Hood. If you want to make that case to me, Ed Oliver ain't getting any younger, but Deion Walker was really good. They took T.J. Sanders. I don't think Hunter or Caleb Banks are in play. And then the obvious one, receiver. We just want to
No.
keep
Yeah.
keep talking about receiver. How they need to get you know just get another body in there because all the bodies they keep throwing in there aren't good enough. There's no. I don't know where I want to go with this.
Do it. No, you know where your heart's at. You said wide receiver. Do it.
I don't. I want to take. I
It'd be
want to
fun.
take edge, but none. My highest ranked edge would be R. Mason Thomas at this point. It feels early. It feels really early.
Okay, I have Zion Young ranked in front of him, but yeah, it's very early here
Ooh,
for either
inter-
guy.
that's interesting.
I like Zion. I like Zion Young.
Oh, he's got fans. Um,
Yeah.
they took Max Hairston last year. I was gonna default to the board, take a Hood. Screw it. We're gonna take the juice. We're gonna take Art Mason Thomas. He's my highest ranked edge here. I think what
Let's
he
go.
is off the edge, just the juice he brings. You're gonna hear it a lot. His bender on the corner, I think, is special. I think a lot of people are, that's crazy to take, him over Cassius Howell. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. I think R. Mason Thomas, just what he's able to do, dipping around the corner, just believe in more. Even if they're both not ever going to be really made run defenders. But yeah, I'm going to take R. Mason
Yeah,
Thomas.
there you go. I like it. Um, there's my head's
I wish
at
I
two
had this
different spots.
pick. This is the pick I wish I had.
Okay, because I think we are probably approaching this differently, and I'd love to hear your thought process. I'll go through, I'll make the pick, then we can wrap around. If it's not the pick that you would have made, let me know what your process is here. Because for me, it's do you want to go Denzel Boston, or do you kind of want to make the unsexy move here and go the meat and bones? I'm going to default to that. As I've said, for me, it's going to default to the trenches, and it will always default to the trenches. We saw Trent Williams banged up. You need to have a plan for when he retires, when he is going to miss 5 games next season. And it's funny because it was the guy that you brought up for the Eagles pick here. Give me Monroe Freeling. We'll take him here. We'll again, you need to have a plan for whatever it is when Trent Williams inevitably gets hurt, goes down. But it was almost Denzel Boston. It was almost Denzel Boston.
Yeah, that's exactly who I would take. It makes a ton of sense. I think you could play him at right tackle if you're not sold on McKivitz and you want to play the first round player that you have. But in theory, he is your left tackle of the future. You can't just keep kicking this down and saying, "Oh, Trent Williams is going to come back next year," even if he's playing great football. We're seeing it right now. Lane Johnson is playing great football, and he might be done just because like the body can't hold up. But yeah, I think that would have been the pick I would have made. So love it when a
Nice.
plan comes together.
Yes.
The Texans. Interesting. There's one offensive lineman that I could make the case for, which would be Emmanuel Pregnon. Um, I not again. They don't need to take defense. Again, it's easy to we'll
No.
just trade down like last year. But not doing the trades in this one. There's defensive talent on the board in the two D tackles. I think there's a world where you kind of you can take Banks in kind of a luxury position because I don't think they have like
Mhm.
a solidified like plan at D tackle, right? Am I wrong?
No,
No, I mean
no.
they you know Togiai, Sheldon Rankins I knew was still there. Um,
Togiai was fun, but he doesn't stop you from taking
yeah,
Caleb Banks early on. Or
yeah, it's all about how you feel about Pragnon because I think the receiver is fine. Um, Colton Hood's my highest ranked player. You're obviously not going to take a corner, especially boundary, let
no,
alone. Yeah, I'm going to take Banks. I think Caleb Banks makes a ton of sense. I think you're in a position that you can take a risk on this player, and if you get the highs right, he could be very disruptive. You know, on the same line of scrimmage as Will Anderson, who's going to get a big payday this offseason. So Caleb Banks is the pick for me.
yes, yeah, I think that's where I would have went here too.
I'm really interested to see where he
Again,
goes. We're so early in this,
yes,
but
yeah, it's and there are some people that I mean have him as the best defensive tackle in the class. So
you get
his
it.
range is a yeah, I get it, I understand it. Has a very big range here. So for the Rams, we went McCoy with their first pick, which is good. We're going to continue to kind of go the flashy route here. It's funny coming from our episode we just recorded. If you haven't watched it, go and watch that. We just talked so much about like the tight end usage for the Rams here, but I'm going to go Denzel Boston. How many more years left in the tank does Devonte Adams have left? And we know that he loves to do like he's the go-to kind of red zone threat for him when he's healthy. Go and get a guy that can kind of step in. Obviously, again, it's a lofty comparison. I'm not comparing him 1-to-1 for Devonte Adams, but go and get a guy that can work the end zone kind of the same way that he does, and just continue this powerhouse of an offense.
Yeah, I that's interesting, but I like it.
yeah,
I do like it. I do like Boston as a player. He's a little lower on receiver rankings compared to most, but I would understand him in the spot once you get into his size profile and what he's able to do compared to people kind of the players in this range. But it makes this pick easier for me. Omar Cooper Jr. For the
no, no.
Broncos. I think again he's going to be my receiver for. I think what he's able to do in space, it's so good, and he fits that kind of mold of what they've been doing with Bo Nix and how they kind of spray the ball out, let these guys make plays. I would have preferred Boston, to be honest, even
Yeah,
if I have Cooper
even
higher.
with Sutton.
I don't know what the Sutton timeline is because he keeps getting older.
Yeah.
He kind of can and make a natural path. But yeah, Cooper would be my pick here.
Oh, you make me upset. Yeah, no, it's as you could probably
Yep.
decipher based off of my visceral reaction. That's the guy I wanted to get here. I think at this point in time, you're probably reaching on any wide receiver. I mean, you could maybe
You think so?
sell yourself on KCC here. I that would be the only guy that I
Depends.
would feel
For me, it
somewhat.
depends on how you feel about the ACO with Chris Bell. I think Chris Bell's really good.
Yeah, Chris Bell's really fun. Chris Bell's fun. He's not the only Bell wide receiver that's really fun in this class either. Um, but God, I just don't feel comfortable taking either of those guys at this point. And then the next line of process for me goes edge. And we just did the same conversation with R. Mason Thomas. At this point in time, there's not really an edge guy that I feel comfortable taking with here. There's not an offensive lineman that really has me juiced up. Um, yeah, I mean,
You want to see a position?
I'll go KCC. I mean, I know I just talked about how I'm not wanting to go KCC here. Um, I'll go KCC here. I kind of almost went CJ Allen. I'm not gonna lie. CJ Allen has been a lot of fun to watch. I've only watched a game or two of him, so I don't feel comfortable enough to I'd be lying to you guys if I talked a whole lot about him. But he's been fun from what I watched. But yeah, I mean, get Drake May, a pass catcher. I don't feel super comfortable about it, but the way the board fell, that's kind of what you got stuck taking.
Yeah, I agree with you. He kind of compares like Douglas Diggs. I could see him fitting in with if Diggs is kind of on the out portion of this. I could see
Yeah.
it making a ton of sense. Seattle, hey, good job, Seattle. You won a Super Bowl. Go get my 21st player on the board at a position need, Colton Hood. I think it makes a ton of sense. Plug and play for them. Reek Woolen likely out the door. I think Josh Jobe is also a free agent, so they're really dying
Yes.
for corner. I think they could bring in a veteran, draft Colton Hood. Makes a ton of sense. So that is our top 32. The reason I did 2 rounds is kind of thinking about the teams that didn't get to draft in the first round, which you think
Mm,
about like Atlanta, think about Green Bay, um, Jacksonville, and then who would be the other? Wasn't there wasn't there a
Jaguars. Yep.
fourth? But
I think it's just
yeah,
those three.
is there anybody on the board for those teams that you're kind of like, there's something interesting there? It doesn't have to be all three, just like one for any of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch my wording when I'm saying this, and I'm trying to tiptoe a very um, touchy line here. If you could, if you're the Falcons at 48, you have to start thinking about what you're going to do at pass rusher. So
Mm-hmm.
I will go as that far and end the conversation there at this point in time. But I mean, you look. I mean, I like Zion Young. Again, I glad to hear that me and you were kind of on the same page with Cassius Howell. I just don't. I have a lot of concerns about him as an edge rusher. Um,
I'm pretty
but
Seahawks pilled right now. All right, long
yeah,
and powerful, and Howell ain't
yeah,
either.
yeah, exactly. So, um, the player I was referring to that I've kind of fallen in love with, McNeil Warren. I wouldn't be shocked
Yeah,
if he goes first round. He is
yeah.
safety two for me. Very, very kind. I don't want to say varies from. He is. It is a conversation between safety two and safety three for me at this point for him. In terms of wide receivers on the board too, I'm interested to see where kind of these guys end up stacking up. That there's a fun conversation to have with the IU wide receivers because of Omar Cooper. But when you think of these guys, I think people's first thought tends to be Elijah Surratt. Again, you have some question marks with Chris Bell. Chris
Yeah.
Brazzle is kind of a guy that can be a speedster down the field when you want him to do and has the size for it. Jeremy Bernard's just kind of put the hard hat on kind of guy. He's very, very good at that kind of stuff. So there's still some players to look at for as we would lead into day two here.
Yeah, I did this specifically so I could mention my Green Bay Packers as they are on this podcast as I am the Green Bay Packers homer. Just thinking about Dubs, Romeo Dobbs, leaving in free
Yeah.
agency. Wouldn't it be fun to just throw in Malachi Fields or Ted Hurst at the X position for them if they
Mm,
if they want to. If they want to, you
yeah.
don't know what a Watson deal looks like. I know they took Golden last year, so again, you're spending another your first pick on pass catcher when you kind of need offensive line talent. I get it, but just something I wanted to throw in there. So yeah, I mean that's all we got.
That's all
for
she wrote.
the that's all we got for this episode of the mock draft. Um, is there any pick you really like, Ben, in this one?
Any pick that I really like. Um, I like the Rams pick. I like being able to get your choice, well, both of them, but your choice of DB and cornerback. Well, I should say corner, not necessarily DB, because Caleb Downs. I said it when I made the Bears pick. I love that pick there. Um, those are kind of the two that really stand out to me in terms of like picks that I'm absolutely in love with. Obviously, it's a little easier to talk about at the top end because you get more options there. But yeah, yeah, 13. Pick 13 is probably my favorite pick. So shocker, I made the pick. I like it. Would have guessed. But what was your favorite pick?
Stealing from yours, I'll say Chargers just for I think positional, you know for positional need slash value. I think it's the best on the board. But
Mm-hmm.
DJ Parker to the Lions, I really like. I do think
Yeah.
there's something there as an edge too, just ready made, walking in the door, can do it all next to Hutchinson. I do like that a lot. But that is all for us today. We'll keep doing these. Maybe not every week, but
Yeah.
once we're gonna get into this, that we could really get some fun scenarios going. So hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like it. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow all the socials. Links are in the description. So thank you for checking us out. But that's all today, and see you in the next one.